Hey guys, this is Corey and Preston here with Daily Fantasy Insider, ready to break down another Boom Fantasy slate. Yesterday was a great one for us, it looks like, and we had a great day over at DFIU Bets as well, and we predicted that Golden State game being a blowout, which helped a lot in our predictions as well as making bets overall. Anything you want to say to get us started, Preston?
No, yesterday was good. DFIU bets keeps rolling. We're doing well. Excited to be on the ride with everyone, man.
Yeah, gotta love making money in any way possible.
Definitely.
All right, so let's get into it, man. We'll start today's $1 jackpot with predicting who gets the most points between Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday, Jordan Clarkson, and Patty Mills. Anything popping out to you right away?
Yeah. So this is we're looking at. It's kind of a group of four guys. We have Middleton and Holiday who play 35 minutes a game. They're kind of the second pieces in their offense right now, and then Clarkson and Mills both coming off the bench. They see around 20 minutes a game. So this you can almost eliminate them off the bat. Where Clarkson or Mills surpass both Middleton and Holiday in points. Really looking between those two, you got to kind of look at their similar players in terms of points scored per game. Neither really goes off, but they both average 15 to 20 points a game. Looking at matchups, their teams are playing each other. Milwaukee's been a lot better defensively as of late, so and New Orleans isn't a great defensive team, so I think I may roll with Middleton here, but I think Drew Holiday is just as viable. It's really more of a toss up, but yeah, I'd probably lean Middleton just slightly.
Yeah, I gotta agree. Since Jason Kidd got fired, interestingly enough, Milwaukee's been second best in the league in defensive efficiency, which is a huge improvement. Which is helping them a lot. Getting Jabari Parker's helping them a lot. And with defense comes wins, and we've been seeing Milwaukee climbing up the boards recently. What's interesting is Manu Ginobili's not going to play for the Spurs today. If Chris Middleton wasn't in as great of a matchup as he is, I'd be kind of tempted to go Mills a little bit, just because he might see a few extra minutes. They're a little bit thin there. I'm not sure what Pop ever wants to do with his rotation.
Yeah.
So it's like, again, it's really tough with that. But yeah, I mean, the Pelicans are atrocious defensively. They're one of the worst in the league against wing players, and could be a smash spot for Chris Middleton.
Yep.
I want all of Chris Middleton. I'm going all in there. I do think Drew Holiday will be close, but like I got to give Middleton like the win here, probably by 8 or 9 points.
Yep. Yeah.
And yeah, I don't think we have to really talk about that too much. It's pretty easy, so we can just move ahead to predicting rebounds. We got Giannis, Anthony Davis, Paul Gasol, and Tristan Thompson. What you thinking here?
Yeah. So this is looking at having Anthony Davis and Antetokounmpo. They're teammates of the two guys we're looking at for points, and they play huge minutes. They're two of the best players in the league. And then you have Pau Gasol and Tristan Thompson. They play less minutes and just aren't as big of a focal point. I think this is similar to the last game. I think Anthony Davis is center. Milwaukee. Their 1 weak spot has been centers pretty much all year. They have Henson and Maker are not huge threats to steal boards from Anthony Davis, and then Antetokounmpo is just huge and lengthy, and he'll go get rebounds all the time. So I think those are the two guys you're looking at for sure. I may give Anthony Davis the edge here. He's had some monster games the past week or so. He's scored 35 plus points, and he's all over the boards and getting putbacks, and I think he may be the move for rebounds here, but I think Antetokounmpo could have a good argument as well. But
Yeah, again, I gotta agree. Not shocking we're on the same page here. Milwaukee is one of the worst rebounding teams in the league. And since DeMarcus Cousins has gone down, Anthony Davis has just been a usage machine. And that's rebounds, points, and his assists are even up. Not enough to be considered for Boom Fantasy, but he's just been a monster. While Giannis could get his, average of 10, maybe 11, 12, I mean, I could see Davis easily getting 15, which makes you got to like him a lot. I mean, Thompson won't see the minutes. Paul Gasol won't see the crazy minutes. That'll be a pretty ugly game, I'd assume, between Cleveland and San Antonio. So I do like Davis a lot here, and kind of just like Middleton. I think I'm going all in on Davis. Would you say the same?
Yeah. Yep. Totally agree there.
Awesome. All right. Well, let's speaking of assists, let's move on to it. We got LeBron, Rondo, Middleton, and Parker. I don't think Middleton and Parker can really be um, even considered here. Like they both average about 4 assists. Neither of them. I mean, Parker doesn't see big minutes anymore. Dejounte Murray's their starter point guard. Middleton really is just the pure shooter. And then the Rondo is kind of interesting. You never know what minutes he's going to get. He'll either get 20 or Ian Clark will somehow play 30. There's just no way to know, and
Yep.
that really hurts when we're trying to get the exact when we want to nail all three of these, and we have two pretty surefire picks to start out with. Um, I have LeBron projected around 9 assists tonight, and I think he gets it. He's just been the ball's been in his hands constantly ever since that trade, and he's just looked great. Do you think I'm right, or what? Or any other
Yeah.
opinion?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think Middleton, like you said, he just doesn't pass the ball enough. He's a shooter, and Tony Parker's just getting kind of fizzled out of the rotation a little bit, not getting minutes. I think LeBron's probably for sure the optimal play here. Rondo would be a contrarian play. We've seen he's had upside for 20 assists, but you can't. There's no way you can ever predict those games. He's kind of a player who, if he wants to play, he'll show up, but otherwise he won't get a ton of minutes. So I think LeBron's definitely the optimal play from this group.
Yeah, I mean, again, the big issue with Rondo is predicting his minutes, and we just
Yep.
don't know.
Yep.
He might be worth a share, not more than one share,
Yep.
if we're multi-entering. And if you're just going one line, we absolutely want LeBron here.
Yep.
And then
For sure.
lastly, we have a tough one in projecting Anthony Davis's point total. I'm gonna let you guess this one first and try to pick your brain here.
Yeah, man, this is tough. Looking at Anthony Davis with Cousins out, his usage is insane. Like we were talking about for rebounds and points for sure. He's been going off lately. He put up 90 plus fantasy points the other night in DFS, and he's had 38 plus in 4 straight. He's had over 40 in 3 of his last 4. So predicting points is going to be tough here. I think you could go bold and project he go 35 to 40, but I think a average game for him is looking around 30. I'd if I went 5 lines, I'd look at 29 to 33 points, but this is definitely tough with the upside he has. He's shooting the ball a ton, and he's shown the definite capability to go score 40 in a game. So it's going to be interesting to see what he does to that Milwaukee front court. So
Yeah, and those are interesting stats you just pointed out. I mean, he's been crushing it. He's their focal
yeah,
point of the offense.
yeah,
Not too often do I say a player might have a floor of 30, but I kind of think he has a floor of
yeah,
30. And
yeah,
this game would not shock me if it either went into overtime or stayed close the entire time.
yeah,
I really like that range, 29, 33-ish. I might put him 30 to 34, but it's the same thing just because
yeah,
I think it was floor of 30. Um, but we do, if you're projecting points, I would say put him at least 30.
yep,
I don't see any way he doesn't get that, and if he doesn't, he'll have a really off night.
yep.
So let's jump into the night slate on this jackpot. When we have 2 games between Houston and Denver, and Philly and Washington. Hopefully two close games. Right away in the points category, we see Eric Gordon with the questionable tag. This is actually really important because even if he does play, he's been sick, and Mike D'Antoni said he's very sick. So if he does play, I don't expect him to see big minutes. He'll be very fatigued, and it's too much risk. And even when he's in, he might get some like Gary Harris defensive treatment, who's a terrific defender. So when we get rid of Gordon, we're left with Jokic, Simmons, and Markieff Morris. I love Jokic in this matchup. Same reason I love Towns the other night. Houston is 25th in the league in DVP. Clint Capella is a great player, don't get me wrong, but the man doesn't go that hard on defense. Simmons isn't a big scorer. I do think he'll have a big role today. He's loved playing Washington in the few games he's played them. And then Markieff Morris isn't going to compete with Jokic and Simmons in my eyes. What do you think of here between Jokic and Simmons?
Yeah, I think you nailed Gordon and Morris. I think also with Gordon with Houston going to Denver, that's a tough place to play in, going up in the altitude. And then yeah, Morris is he just won't compete with those guys. Between Jokic and Simmons, Simmons is kind of a guy like Draymond Green who gets 10, 12 points, rebounds, assists. He has the upside to score for sure, but I think if you're picking one of these guys, I think you got to go Jokic. He's just been destroying everyone really, and yeah, I think he has a good size matchup over Capella, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's really the only one that goes 20 plus tonight. Simmons is, I think he's scored over like 18 points like one of his last 8 games. So I just don't think he has the scoring upside that Jokic has when Jokic can go put up 30 with what looks like so much ease. So yeah,
Yeah.
totally agree there.
Yeah, I think I'm all in on Jokic here. And get him before Paul Millsap comes back because he is inching
Yep.
closer, and Jokic is taking over this team without him. So we can assume a pretty high scoring game from Jokic. So then we'll jump into rebounds between Capella, Embiid, Jokic, and Gortat. And this one is actually pretty tricky.
Yep.
As you guys can look, we have 3 guys who pretty much average the same amount of rebounds. Gortat, he's not going to beat them. We don't have to discuss that. Um, but
Yep.
do you have a favorite here? Do you think it's going to be close?
Yeah, this is probably the most congested averages of the any of the stats of the whole day. You have Capella and Embiid and Jokic all looking at averages of just over 10 rebounds. I think I was looking at DVP for rebounds earlier today, and it looks like really all of these teams, Denver, Houston, and Washington, all the matchups are one of the better, like one of the worst matchups, one of the tougher matchups for rebounds. Looking at game logs, Jokic is a guy who he's been having 7 to 9 in some games, and he'll have 15 or so in other games. And Capella's more of a guy, he'll get you your 10 rebounds and he'll get you your 10 points, and that's about it. I think Embiid may be the move for me here. He's been, after the break, he had 15 or 16 rebounds the other night. He's playing well. He's on a night of rest, and I think he may he's one of their main big guys. They don't really have any other huge guys that they play with him, and I think he may have the highest floor with the highest upside as well out of all of these guys. So it's definitely a tough choice, but I may use Embiid here in this spot.
Yeah, and when I was looking at projections and stuff, they were all about projected a rebound
Yeah,
away from each other, which is makes it even tougher.
for sure.
If you are multi-entering here, I like getting Embiid about 60% and just having a share of Capella and Jokic just in case, because we have a guy in Jokic who we expect to win the points, and then that way, guessing the rebounds won't kill you. Either way, if you get it wrong, because you'll at least have one guy who gets it. I think Preston nailed it. I expect Embiid to have a really good game against Gortat. Gortat's not the greatest rebounder that Wizards have, and I expect them to use a lot of him and Mahimi to try to slow down Embiid, but we know nobody slows down Embiid. Um,
For sure.
yeah, and Jokic is, I mean, I expect 10 to 12 from him, but I don't see the 16-ish that I could see from Embiid. But I do think it's important that we get about one Jokic and one Capella, and then we just go heavy on Embiid. So then we'll jump into assists with Chris Paul, Ben Simmons, Nikola Jokic, and Gary Harris. This one's interesting to me. We see that Chris Paul is averaging about 8 assists, and Simmons is averaging 7. Gary Harris, he's not going to compete. Just don't even
No.
be tempted.
Yeah, I'm
He's not
not
big
sure
on
why
that.
he's in this group. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not even worth contrarian. It just won't
No.
happen. But interestingly enough, I only have Chris Paul pegged for about 5 or 6-ish assists today, which makes me kind of like Jokic a lot here. Even though I think Simmons could get you 8 or 9, but I'm feeling a triple double from Jokic. I just have that feeling. I think this fast paced game and high scoring, close game is just perfect for him. Malone's been letting him play, like we said. What do you think?
Yeah, this one's tough. This one's a little like the rebounds in the for the last category. But yeah, I think Jokic, he's had a few triple doubles in his last few games. been playing incredible. I think he could definitely get double-digit assists. The tough thing to decide here is Simmons and Paul are just as good of passers as Jokic is. I think Paul definitely has plenty of upside playing the Nuggets, have a fast matchup. But yeah, I think Chris Paul or Jokic may be probably the top two plays. Simmons right there though, so this one's tough. But
Another tough
Jokic is
one.
for sure in play. Yeah,
This night slate is a lot tougher than the earlier slate.
definitely.
Um, it is one where honest for me, I just feel in a triple double. I'm going all five entries on Jokic,
Yeah.
um, but I definitely see why Chris Paul and Ben Simmons could be appealing.
Yeah,
Uh,
Chris Paul has he's only had one game in a while that he's had double digit assists. He hasn't had a double double in a while with assists. I think Embiid has three straight triple doubles, I believe. Um,
wow.
yeah, three straight triple doubles, and he's had 11, 17, and 11 assists in his last three games. So he definitely has upside. He has great court vision for a big guy, which is insane. He's an anomaly, but yeah, I like that call with Jokic here.
Yeah, going for a fourth straight one.
Yeah.
And then lastly, we have a really tough category here. Guessing James Harden points. Um, we know Harden can get 25, but we know he can get 60, which is pretty tough to predict here.
Yep.
I was looking earlier, and he doesn't really crush Denver. I'm assuming it's because of the Gary Harris defense effect. While you can't really slow Harden down, you can somewhat contain him, which does make you think he's not hitting that 60-point upside. Not to say he does that on a
Yep.
regular night anyway, but I like the 26 to 30 range here. I think. Are you about the same, or what do you
Yeah.
have here?
Yeah. I had it 27 to 31. He's scored 27 to 31 in four of his last five games. He's right around that 30-point range, kind of like Anthony Davis earlier. But yeah, I think upper 20s, lower 30s is right around where we want him for
Yeah.
tonight.
The matchup, it'll be a great, fast-paced game, but he does have a slightly tougher matchup than Anthony Davis does.
Yep.
And Harden does get, if Eric Gordon does play, it will hurt Harden a little bit. And these contests don't lock till late, so we should know whether Gordon's playing. If he is playing, we can bump Harden down a little bit, but I still think that 26 to 30 range is perfect.
Yep.
That'll do it for the Boom Fantasy slate. And then for those of you who are playing for DraftKings FanDuel Fantasy Draft, Daily Fantasy Insider will be covering that night slate that starts at 7 tonight. And I'll be in the war room answering questions as well as our other insider, Brad. But good luck, and we'll be with you again tomorrow.
Yep. See you guys.
And we're good.